At the end of the day, it's never about how much money we've made or left on the table.
Ce qui importe, ce sont les liens d'amitié tissés pour la vie et les belles histoires à raconter. Nous savons à quel point des moments comme ce 50e anniversaire sont importants et qu'il faut les signaler pour ce qu'ils sont vraiment.
The magic of friendship and family.
When I first started out insulating in Edmonton, 19 years old, 20 years old, to work for a chap, Harry Hopkins was his name. And he was a small operator. Just to make a comment, we were working at a packing plant, a meat packing plant. And he took us over there to show us what to do and get an idea. He had the contract, and we were going to start, and then he told us not to go to the job site. There was a change. And we found out that he had given the guy a price to do this insulation, and he knew it wasn't enough because he had work done before. So he confronted him with it, and he said, yeah, I did make a mistake. I guess you could take $1,000 off that. And it was only like a $5,000 job to begin with. But by the time we got through, we made sure that he made a profit on the job, because we knew that he wanted the job, but he wasn't that good an estimator. So that is so important in the industry. And we laughed about that for some time.
Moi, à ce moment-là, je travaillais pour une compagnie d'adhésifs, des enduits, des colles. Et puis, j'étais allé faire une démonstration chez un manufacturier d'équipements de ventilation. Il utilise une colle pour coller le duct liner, l'isolant, qui va à l'intérieur des gaines de ventilation. Et puis, à ce moment-là, on essayait de changer les adhésifs à base de solvant pour des adhésifs à base d'eau, parce que c'était moins toxique, plus sécure dans les entreprises, les compagnies d'assurance, c'est ça. Et puis j'arrive avec...
Faudrait que tu sois plus condensé.
Non. Ouais, mais c'est parce que toi, tu vas...
Non, excuse.
Alors, j'arrive avec mon équipement, un petit compresseur, un fusil, mon réservoir de colle. C'est une colle noire, là, hein? Ça fait que je mets ça, j'installe mon affaire, je mets la pression, puis là, je pèse sur le trigger, et là, tout part. Les gens autour de moi étaient complètement enduits de colle noire. Okay? L'ingénieur, l'acheteur, le technicien, tout le monde, incluant moi, naturellement. Mais écoute, jamais j'aurais pensé qu'une telle chose pouvait m'arriver. Tu vois ça dans des films, là.
Mais
Pas... Écoute... Tu sais, puis finalement, j'ai pas eu de la commande.
Probably the funnest thing I can remember was I was working at Suncor, and we were doing a shutdown on a furnace. And some guy had done these pigtails, and he just butchered them. So we had to go in there and work, and I was working with an old journeyman, and I was just a young journeyman at the time. And his name was Jose the Pimp. And he was standing there, and I was laying on my back in a real awkward position. And, come on, Pimpy. Keep moving, Pimpy. You got to get this thing done, Pimpy. So I think about that lots, and it makes me smile.
I've been fishing with quite a few of them for about 23 years, and we've fished throughout North America. Practical jokes are the thing of the day. I remember coming back from Florida one time with 3 of them, and we had to stop somewhere to transfer flights. And I still don't know to this day how they did it, but when I went to go to the plane with them and had my ticket, I had the wrong one. They were going to Pittsburgh, and they were going to Philadelphia. And I thought, that can't be. So they called me Dad. And they said, see you, Dad. And I said, no, I'm with you guys. Somehow they sweet-talked stewardess at the last minute. They finally gave me the real ticket. and I got on the plane with them. But at first, I was going somewhere else.
Quand on a été justement à Terre-Neuve, on a comme initié un genre de danse sur Thunder. On faisait du body slam. Quand le monde ils ont vu ça, ils ont dit « C'est quoi ça, ces gars-là? » Puis depuis ce temps-là, ça fait 2 ans en ligne, on met Thunder avec André Pachon, justement, et tout ça, qu'on a comme initié ce genre de danse-là, du body slam. Mais c'est comme un rituel là, de party, là.
Well, the standing joke I have with my buddy George Pashon is if you want to make money in the insulation business, you had to be a contractor. Distributors were there to help.
I was actually asked to come look at a job site that somebody had completely made a mess of, and as I walked into the job site with the white hard hats, so the actual engineers and all that, we were walking onto a site and they were explaining what we were going to look at. And when we got to the site, or to the actual room we had to go in, as they were pointing up at the unit I was supposed to look at the work they wanted repaired, they stopped. I kept walking to look at the unit, and I walked into about 6 inches of fresh poured concrete. And that was rather embarrassing in front of all these suit and tie kind of people. So
Well, at least you're feet first into your work.
I was. Yeah.
I remember one time the bank, they were really difficult to get along with because of our situation, and they wouldn't advance us any loans. And we had a payroll to make, and that was sent out on a bus to this job site. And this fella promised to pay us this money that he owed us, and it didn't come in, and the bank wouldn't give us any money to cover that payroll, so we thought that was the end of us. The bus got to that destination, and the foreman called and said the checks weren't on the bus. And Don didn't know what he was going to do, so he just said, well, I'll have to make out new checks and send them out. So the fellas were all right with that. So Don did that and made out the new checks and sent them out. In the interim, that fella did get us paid. But those checks didn't arrive for 2 months at that job site, and I'd like to know who delayed those checks from getting there. It was kind of like a miracle, because that would have been the end of us.
Et dimanche, on est parti dimanche matin parce qu'on sauvait de l'argent qui coûtait moins cher à l'association. On avait l'économie sur l'avion, puis je pense qu'on avait une chambre d'hôtel qui était gratuite un soir, quelque chose de genre. Alors, on s'en va tous les deux à Vancouver, et dans l'après-midi, nous autres, il était peut-être... à Vancouver, il était peut-être 4 heures, ou 7 heures, mais ici, il était seulement 4 heures. En tout cas, Paul, t'as dit l'inverse. C'est l'inverse, non?
Oui, l'inverse.
C'est l'inverse, excuse-moi. Alors, Paul téléphone chez lui, puis il parle de diète, et puis...
Elle n'était pas trop heureuse.
Elle n'était pas heureuse, elle avait acheté un chien. Alors, moi, j'ai écrit dans la chambre, Paul, elle t'a déjà remplacé par un chien.
Elle dit, je t'ai remplacé par un chien.
As I was a young estimator, this Mr. Raringa sent me into Imperial Oil to do a quantity survey of a job, but he never told me it hadn't been installed yet. So I spent 3 or 4 days trying to find this thing, went back in and said, boy, Jim, I must be really, really dumb, I can't find it. And he said, that's what I wanted to know, that you couldn't find it, so you do know what you're looking for. Oui, il y a 3 ans, Rémi, on avait un souper du
Conseil
CA.
d'administration avec
Et puis, on a pris un petit peu de vin. Et puis, le lendemain matin, Rémi s'est aperçu que le bout de ses souliers était tout scratché parce qu'on l'avait traîné comme ça.
Ça a commencé parce que le vin de Colombie-Britannique est trop bon. Rendu aux 3/4 de la run, là, la musique vient tellement bonne qu'on commence à danser un peu. Puis moi, j'ai eu la mauvaise idée que je monte sur le bar. Je suis debout sur le bar. Puis là, je pogne la lumière au jour. Puis là, je commence à chanter comme... je sais pas quel qui était là. Ça devait être les gars de AC/DC, anyway. Là, j'ai chanté, puis c'est quand je suis descendu, là, on avait 3 heures qu'on était là,
Quand j'ai descendu, c'est comme les lumières ont fermé. Puis là, ils m'ont compté après, j'ai juste des flashs que il y a quelqu'un qui me tient, on marche sur le trottoir, puis je rouvre les yeux, puis tout ce que je vois, c'est le trottoir qui défile, puis je ris. I'm just laughing. And those guys...
Le rideau complètement fermé.
Oh,
mais là, écoute, là, on est 2 ou 3 qui le traînent. Mais là, moi aussi, je suis magané pas mal. Hein? Puis là, à un moment donné, les genoux m'ont lâché. Là. J'ai tombé à genoux. Mais là c'est là que moi, le rideau s'est fermé. Hein?
Les deux.
You know, guy, you walk in a boiler room and the guy's insulating the gas pipe. Well, you never insulate gas pipe. You know, just stuff like that. You see it fairly often. Guys doing the wrong thing. I had a customer bought some insulation from me and he wanted to insulate his own ductwork. He bought acoustic insulation that only goes on the inside of the duct and he wrapped it on the outside of the duct.